Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at the Boldr Supply Company Odyssey Pacific Blue. I would wager to guess this is the heaviest and largest watch I've ever had in my possession. This thing is just gigantic. It's massive. Pick your adjective. This thing is just huge. I mean, it's just really big. If you want a large, gigantic watch that you can use as a defensive weapon, you can pick one of these up. Price on this is $650. But before we get into the rest of the specs, let's take a quick look at the box. Normally, I just like a simple case, a simple box, but actually quite like this. This is my first time receiving a watch in one of these crush-proof, waterproof cases here. Looks kind of like a Pelican case. It's very nice. It has these locking clasp on here. Well, they don't lock, but it retains the lid. These are just the extra links, and has a little information booklet here, which I never read, and then a cleaning cloth, I guess. So, yeah, definitely a nice case. Padding in there. Actually, it is lockable. You have these little holes here to lock it, but the hinge pins aren't really retained. You can probably just knock those out. But anyway, nice case. So let's get back into the watch. The domed sapphire crystal, sapphire bezel insert. I believe that's a loomed bezel insert. We'll check that out towards the end of the video. It does have anti-reflective coating. The Loom is Super Luminova. Getting back to the size of the watch, it is a heavy watch as well, obviously. 239 grams. Anyway, double domed sapphire crystal with AR coating. Basically, it's all brushed surfaces. I didn't really see any polished surfaces on this. A large bracelet as well to match the large watch. It does have a little bit of taper. Let's look at the clasps here real quick. Milled clasp. Has 6 adjustment micro adjust here. Take a look at the case back. And when I put this on wrist, you'll see I didn't actually size this watch. I did not spend much time wearing it. It's just way too big for my wrist. It does have quick release pins on the bracelet here, so that's a nice feature. Usually take the bracelet on and off if you wanted to wear it on a strap. Although the bracelet kind of helps counterbalance the heavy weight of the watch head here. So dimensions on this thing. Lug to lug, 53 millimeter. Diameter is 45.5. Thickness on this, I measured it at 16.3. Lug width is 22, and that does taper down to 20. It tapers pretty quickly right here, and then 20 millimeter the rest of the way. This watch is 500 meter water resistant, 316L stainless steel, 500 meter water resistant, which I mentioned, but it does have the helium escape valve there to get down to that depth. The movement on this is the Miyota 9015. It does give you the 8 beat per second, but with the thickness of this watch, Seiko NH35 would have been perfectly fine. I favor the Miyota 9000 series because they're typically thinner than the Seiko NH35, and also you get that faster beat rate, the 8 beats per second versus the 6 beats per second. But this is just, again, a gigantic, massive watch. I'm sure I said that about 10 times now, but that's my main takeaway with this watch. The dial is pretty neat. It has a mixture of sunburst and then a textured dial. Kind of a sandpaper grain looking texture in the middle of the watch there. I do like the color of this watch. This Pacific Blue is a nice blue colored watch. You see there, Odyssey automatic, 500 meter. It's at 1,650 feet. There's a date display there. The dial is so large, so the date display is a little closer to the center of the dial, but then you get more of a indice down there at the bottom. Looking forward to checking out the Loom on this. This is an engraved crown, or it has a crown on the logo on the crown here. Sorry. Gigantic crown at 9mm. Oh yeah, the other dimension that's critical with this watch, let me zoom back out, is it has these fixed center links. So lug to lug with these fixed center links is 59.4mm. And as you'll see in a moment, my wristband is 52mm, and this obviously overhangs my wrist. These are limited. This is limited to 200 pieces. So let's get this on wrist. We'll look at it at this zoom magnification, and then we'll zoom out, and then we can check out the Loom shot. Actually, before the Loom, I'll compare it to my SKX as I normally do here. So it is a nice looking watch. It's just obviously it's very big, especially on my 6.5-inch wrist, again with a 52mm wristband. And lug to lug at the case was 53, and then the fixed center links is almost 60, 59.4 I think it was. So let's zoom out here. So there we go, and check out the thickness on this thing. I guess if you had a large wrist, you could support this. Knock yourself out with it. Well, almost literally, I guess. No pun intended. You could hit yourself in the head with this and go to sleep, maybe. So anyway, let's zoom back in and check it out next to one of my favorite watches, the Seiko Skx009, which kind of looks like a 013 in this case next to this large watch. Seiko Skx is 42 by, I think, 46. I should have this memorized by now. Thickness on this is about 13.5. So the Odyssey is about 3mm thicker. And the lug to lug is quite a bit larger, 53 versus that 46. So let me know if you'd wear a watch this size. I mean, probably not with my wrist size, but if you have a larger wrist, just put it in the comments and let me know what you think of this watch. All right, let's check out the Loom here. Okay, so on the left, we obviously have the Odyssey Pacific Blue 500-meter diver. And on the right, the Seiko Skx009. Yeah, the Loom on the Odyssey is better than the SKX, but much more area to apply Loom on the indices as they're much larger than the SKX. The Loom is dying out around the bezel, but it still looks pretty good. Definitely nothing to complain about in the Loom department. So if you have not subscribed yet, I would appreciate it if you go ahead and subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment below. I enjoy hearing your thoughts and opinions on these timepieces I get to review. And as always, appreciate the time and talk to you soon.